Good evening. It's James Murray with NetNewsLedger. We're here at City Hall on a beautiful August evening with Andy Wolff. Now, Andy's come down from Current River tonight to talk a little bit about the issues in Current River. Andy, what are the issues in Current River?
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of the big city issues make the news, whereas the ward issues don't. I was out actually campaigning tonight, and one of the guys mentioned about his backyard where the hydro lines are, and trees are growing in there, and he's been trying to get them to remove the trees or the tree branches so that it doesn't interfere with his power, because he's saying it's flickering. And I think a lot of those things get overlooked in light of all the bigger news items, and I think that that's important that we address what citizens have for that, or even somebody's sidewalk that it's not properly covered. They just dig it up and then they just throw gravel on it, just like patchwork. So
now,
those are issues.
You've been doing a lot of door knocking in the ward. How many doors you knocked?
Over 1,000. I'm actually well over a quarter of the way there. So I've been knocking on quite a few doors.
Now, we've got a new old candidate. Dick Waddington's joined it. Claudio Monteleone has joined it.
Yeah.
And Andrew Folds isn't in yet. What's your perspective on the race as we go forward?
In terms of each candidate?
Just what do you think is happening?
Well, I think that there is, I can only speculate. I think everyone knows Andrew has higher expectations and he wants to go for higher office, which, is his prerogative. And if he decides to run, well, he'll decide to run. I can't comment any more on that. As for Claudio, he's a friend of mine and I respect his views. And I think that people will decide what's best in Current River. As for Dick Waddington, all I can say is it just wouldn't be a Current River ward race without Dick.
That's very true. Now, we're going into the campaign, and some of the issues that we keep hearing about, everywhere in the news. It's the event center, it's the issues like, crime. What are you hearing about crime in Current River?
Well, there's actually been quite a bit of concern about crime. A lot of people, depends on what area you're in. Certain areas there isn't really that much of an issue, but then in some areas there is. And it depends on what's by there. Like one person said that there was some sort of questionable activity in this one apartment. And, so they're thinking, why don't the police investigate that? So, it depends on where you are. It's not like a consistent thing, but some places there is crime an issue and others there is not. I think when people comment on it, it's when it actually does happen to them.
How's the event center as an issue in Thunder Bay and in Current River, in your mind?
Well, as you well know, I've been quite vocal in the fact that I've been taking a public vote on it, and I will be releasing the results after nominations close. The interesting thing, I will tell you this, is the fact that the people that did vote yes on it do agree that we should have a plebiscite and that it should be consensus. And the thing about the no side, and I think that this is a very popular misconception, they say, most of the people that say that they're not for the event center, it's not that they're against any event center, it's just that it's at this time, that other priorities need to be addressed, like the roads, crime, and just the issues in their yards. And those are the things that they want addressed before we move on to something like this.
Now, one of the issues that's been coming up in some of the areas is the area of racism. You're on the anti-racism committee. What can we do better in Thunder Bay?
Well, I think one of the things that I'd like to see with the anti-racism committee, we had this really good meeting with regards to where we wanted to go as a strategic plan at the beginning of the year. And it was basically that we should get more public involvement. I mean, we're all in a room in a committee. I think we should start taking it out to the streets. We should be holding public forums, let people voice things. And regardless of what their viewpoints are, some people may find them controversial, maybe offensive, but let's get these thoughts out there and then let's discuss this. I don't think that we should be accusing anybody of anything, because a lot of people have legitimate concerns, and let's open the communication. I think that that's what we need to do, and by doing that, by having public meetings, I think would be the answer.
Sir, is there anything else that we should be talking about with the voters of Current River before we close off tonight?
Well, I just like to say that they're quite friendly. It's nice seeing friendly faces, and they are quite impressed that I would go out, and talk to them. And I intend to visit a lot more of Current River. I mean, it's still at the beginning of the campaign, and hopefully I can kickstart it a little more. and get out there and meet more people. And I look forward to seeing as many people as I can in Current River.
So if you're in Current River, you're probably going to have Andy Wolff at your door very soon, if not already. I'm James with NetNewsLedger, and we're here at Thunder Bay City Hall.